My wife is pregnant, but she says the child is not mine. It was like a bucket of cold water was poured over my head. My 5-year marriage eventually became a joke. I filed for divorce. Later, she cried and begged me, "The child is yours, please don't leave, okay? I can't live without you. If you can't live, then don't live." 1. I stood on the balcony and watched my wife Lin-hee being brought back in a luxury car. The man who got off the car with her was tall and handsome, but a stranger. It seems that she has a new boyfriend. Over the years, my wife has changed men like she changes clothes. Every now and then, the car that took her back looked different, and the people there looked different too. As a son-in-law, I have no status in the family and can do nothing to her. I am not even qualified to file for divorce. My wife has a red flag flying at home and colorful flags fluttering outside, and we live a very comfortable life. Her best friend calls her a winner in life. It really lives up to its name. Sizzle. My fingers hurt. Then I realized that the cigarette was burning my fingertips. I stuck the cigarette butt into the ashtray, looked up and saw my wife hugging the man and kissing him goodbye, reluctant to part. The man buried his head low in his wife's chest. His hands lifted his wife's skirt from behind. Instead of backing off or dodging, my wife put her arms around his neck and kissed him even more deeply. There was no ripple in my heart. This is not the first time I have seen such a scene. I have seen it so many times that I have become numb to it. When I first got married, every time I saw this scene, the feeling of humiliation came over me like a tidal wave. I was submerged at the bottom of the waves, having difficulty breathing, feeling suffocated and suffocated. Which man can tolerate his wife cheating on him again and again? I can't tolerate it either. But, what can we do? I just hate myself for being incompetent. He is a 7-foot-tall man and should be able to stand tall and proud. However, he became a son-in-law who was looked down upon by others. He had no status in the family after marriage, and his dignity was trampled underfoot by his own wife time and time again. Over the years, I've seen so many such dramas that I'd become accustomed to them. My self-esteem has been thrown to the dogs long ago. Why should I still be afraid of being trampled on by her? Now, I feel like I am watching my neighbor's wife cheating on me. I am actively at the forefront of the incident and enjoying it very much. I lit another cigarette and took a few deep puffs. The smoke came out of my nostrils, blinding my eyes and choking me to tears. This cigarette is quite strong. The luxury car drove away. Lin-hee twisted her waist and came in with a clatter. Chan Ruan-nan. Where did he go? As soon as she came in and didn't see me, she started yelling. My name is Chen Yuan, not Chan Runan. But Lin-hee has called me like this since we got married. I protested, but she scolded me instead. You're not a soft man? If you have something to show for yourself, why would you be my house dog? If you're a dog, do it well. If you make me unhappy, I'll pull out your tendons, peel off your skin, and kick that old man out of the hospital. 5 years ago, my family's company was heavily in debt and faced bankruptcy. My father was forced to jump off a building by his creditors. My mother fell ill due to anxiety. Having just graduated from college, I had no money to bury my father or to treat my mother's illness. Just when I was getting anxious and worried, Lin-hee's father came to me and discussed a deal with me. He said he could buy out my family's company and allow me to pay off my debts. He also paid for my father's burial and my mother's hospital bills. His condition was that I marry his daughter and become his son-in-law. In order to let my father rest in peace and to save my mother's life, I agreed to Lin's father's conditions. Just like that, a contract tied me tightly to Lin-hee. Before we got married, Lin-hee made 3 rules for me, requiring me to obey her and obey her. The 3 obediences are, I must follow her when she goes out, I must obey her orders, and I must turn a blind eye when she is affectionate with her boyfriend. Blind obedience. The 4 things are, I have to wait for her to put on makeup, I have to remember her birthday, I have to endure her beatings and scoldings, and I have to be willing to spend money when she is in love. Such 3 rules are obviously unequal and violate public order and good morals. But I have no right to object. My mother has been living in the hospital for the past few years. She cannot breathe on her own and needs to wear an oxygen mask for a long time. In order to keep my mother alive, I didn't dare to file for a divorce and could only stay in the Lin family and endure it in silence. Hearing Lin-hee's scolding, I didn't dare to delay. I quickly put out the half-smoked cigarette in the ashtray and walked into the house. Wife, are you back? I smiled and went over to help her change her shoes. I just squatted down and she asked, did you smoke? My heart skipped a beat. Lin, he slapped him. My face suddenly felt hot and painful. She slapped him again and cursed, "Who told you to smoke? Can you earn money for cigarettes? Why do you smoke?" I can still earn money for cigarettes. After getting married, I started working in the Lin family's company. It's just that I never saw a paycheck. Because my salary card is with Lin He, every month's salary is transferred to her account as soon as it arrives. I have to apply to her and get approval before I can use every penny. I explained, "I didn't buy the cigarettes, I just smoked the ones you left." Lin He wants to smoke, but doesn't allow me to. She slapped me several times on both sides. "How dare you steal my cigarettes? Chan Ruan Nan. You're getting more and more daring." I didn't move and silently endured her abuse. Lin He was tired, so he stopped and yelled, "Go get the ashtray." I fetched the ashtray from the balcony. There were cigarette butts from her and mine mixed together and piled up into a mound. "Have eaten." She pointed at the ashtray and ordered me. I didn't move. Lin He was wearing a red dress today, which was a bit like a wedding toast dress. Her arrogance now is very similar to when she was married. My mind flashed back to what happened on our wedding night. In the bridal chamber, she crossed her legs and looked at me with pride and contempt. "Chen Yuan, don't you look down on me? Don't you dislike me? Don't you refuse to date me? Why did you marry me again?" Lin He and I had conflicts long before we got married. She confessed her love to me 3 times and wanted to date me. I rejected them all. She felt that I had embarrassed her and held a grudge against me for it. Something happened in my family, and Lin He forced me to marry into his family just to get revenge on me. When I got married, my father had not yet been buried and my mother had just been sent to the hospital. I couldn't even stand up straight in front of her. Besides, now that we're married, I want to live a good life with her. So I apologized to her. "I'm sorry." "Do you feel sorry for me now? How much is your apology worth? Do you know how humiliating it is for me to be rejected by you in public? Shen Yuan, when you rejected me, you didn't expect that one day you would bow to me." Not satisfied with just scolding me, she suddenly stood up and slapped me hard in the face. Bang! My face hurt and I immediately got angry. I, Shen Yuan, have been spoiled by my parents since I was a child and have never been hit by a finger. I am a rich second generation, have good grades, and an independent personality, and no one dares to bully me at school. I didn't expect that I would be beaten by a woman on the first day of my marriage. She is still my new wife. How can I not be angry? Lin He pointed at me and yelled, "You still dare to stare at me? You want to fight back? Fight back. If you dare to touch even a strand of my hair, I will kill both your parents. Scatter their ashes on the road, let millions of people trample on them, and make them never stand up again." I slowly unclenched my clenched fists. For the sake of my parents, I endured it. Seeing that I didn't dare to fight back, Lin He became even more presumptuous and started punching and kicking me. My face was numb from the pain, and my heart was numb too. I no longer have any hope for this marriage. From then on, Lin He's domestic violence against me became commonplace. Whenever she was unhappy, she would punch and kick me. "Don't move, will you?" Lin He stood up suddenly, grabbed the cigarette butt and ash and stuffed it into my mouth. "You wanted to smoke, didn't you? I let you smoke as much as you wanted, and you ate it all. You ate it all. Lick the ashtray clean." I couldn't stand it any longer and grabbed her hand. "Lin He, stop bullying me." Lin He was immediately furious and yelled, "Chen Wannan, you dare to resist? You don't want your mother to live, right? I'll make a call right away, cut off her medical expenses, and throw the damn old woman out of the hospital." I was afraid that she would hurt my mother, so I suppressed my anger and let go of her hand. Lin He angrily threw the ashtray on my head. My head and face were covered with cigarette ashes and butts, and my head was broken by her. Blood was flowing down, mixed with the ashes, and flowing down my face. I looked extremely miserable. But what Lin He didn't expect was that the ashtray fell and hit the back of her foot. She screamed, "Ah! It hurts so much." She bent down to take off her shoes and socks, and saw that the instep of her feet was red and swollen, which made her even more furious. "Chan Ruan Nan. How dare you hit me?" I argued, "I didn't hit you, you dropped the ashtray on my head." It was obvious that she was the one who shot herself in the foot, but Zhu Beiji turned the tables on her. This is Lin He's usual trick. Whenever she wants to beat or scold me, she can find all kinds of excuses. The same is true now. She cursed, "How dare you talk back, you bastard? I'll beat you to death. I'll beat you to death." She picked up her high heels and hit me on the head with them. I didn't dodge, I just looked at her silently. After 5 years of marriage, I know her very well. If I dodged when she hit me, she would punish me even more severely and even ask the hospital to remove my mother's oxygen tube. So if I resist or dodge, my mother is the one who suffers. The high heels hit me on the head and face repeatedly, my injuries expanded, and the blood obscured my vision. In my eyes, Lin He looked as scary as a bloody man. Lin He was tired from fighting and threw away his shoes. "Go clean it up." She didn't want people to know that she was abusing me, and every time she hurt me, she asked me to clean up the mess myself. I took out the medicine box, disinfected, stopped the bleeding, and applied medicine. "Get out. Kneel outside and reflect on your actions." She kicked me out. It was impossible to kneel down, and she was not guarding. I stood at the door for a while and then went to the hospital. I didn't have a car and no money for a taxi, so I walked to the hospital. It took me 3 hours of walking to reach the hospital outside the city. The Lin family sent my mother to such a faraway place for treatment just to prevent me from visiting her at any time. I walked into the ward quietly and saw my mother asleep. The nurse was also asleep next to him. Looking at my mother's pale face and thinking of the scene of my father falling from the building, my heart ached and tears filled my eyes unconsciously. After looking at my mother for a while, I fell asleep on the edge of the bed. Bang! The sound of the door opening woke me up. I opened my eyes and saw Lin He running in angrily. I hurriedly got up and dragged her out. She threw her bag at me and said, "I told you to kneel down at the door, but you came to the hospital. You are so brave, aren't you? You dare not even listen to me?" I covered her mouth and lowered my voice to yell, "Lin He, at home, I let you go crazy, but here, if you dare to make trouble." Lin He became even angrier, pulling my hand away and yelling, "What's wrong with me making a fuss? How dare you do anything to me? Chen Runan, I'm telling you." I dragged her into the elevator, pointed at her and said sternly, "I surrender to you for my mother. If you come to the hospital and make a scene, and cause my mother to have health problems, Lin He grabbed my face and said, "You dare to threaten me? I'll blind your eyes." I grabbed her wrist and squeezed it hard. Ah! Lin He's face was twisted in pain, and he screamed, "Chen Wannan! You broke my hand, why don't you let go?" The elevator reached the first floor, the door opened, and I pushed her out. Lin He stepped back repeatedly, her high heels losing their balance, and she fell down with a thud. She sat on the ground and cursed. I ignored it and closed the elevator door. When I returned to the ward, my mother's eyes were filled with tears. As soon as she saw me, she burst into tears. "Son, I am a burden to you." I shook my head and wiped her tears. "No, I'm fine. Lin He and I just had a small quarrel." Husbands and wives always quarrel. My mother cried and said, "I know everything, son, you should divorce me. I don't have much time left, and I want to spend a few days alone with you." My tears also fell. After becoming the son-in-law of the Lin family, although my mother's life was saved, we could no longer see each other often. Apart from work, all my focus must revolve around Lin He. I have to do her laundry, cook, and clean for her. I can't come to see my mother on the weekend because she has guests coming to our house and I have to cook for them. After dinner they played mahjong and I had to serve them tea and water. Sometimes when her boyfriend comes, I have to greet him with a smile. They flirted in front of me and I couldn't show that I was unhappy. In her circle, I am a good-for-nothing waste, a coward with no sense of existence. Every time I want to visit my mother, I have to beg Lin He for a long time. I have to serve her impeccably for a period of time, and no outsiders will make her angry, and she will be in a very good mood, and then she will be kind enough to drive me to see my mother. Then she waited for me in the car and only gave me half an hour. So I seldom come to the hospital. My mother naturally understood that I would have no freedom if I married into the Lin family and became a son-in-law. But every time I came, I was smiling and said I was fine. My mother thought that Lin He and I had a good relationship. Today, she saw Lin He running to the hospital to beat and scold me, and there were wounds on my face. Only then did she realize that I had no dignity as a man in front of Lin He. My mother was very heartbroken, so she advised me to divorce. She said, "You can divorce her tomorrow. Even if you lose everything, as long as you are free, Mom will be relieved." I held my mother's hand and whispered, "I'll talk to her tomorrow." I had wanted to end this marriage a long time ago, but I had been enduring it only for my mother's sake. Now I feel that my mother is in a very bad mood. I was afraid that something might happen to her, so I wanted to stay with her. So I made up my mind to divorce this marriage. After my mother calmed down, I left the hospital and walked back. When I got home, it was already past 10 o'clock. Lin, he is not at home. I packed my clothes silently. At 11:30, Lin he came back. She opened the door, saw me, grabbed a shoe and threw it at me. I turned my head away. Lin he yelled, "Chen Wannan, if you have the guts, don't come back. You dare to threaten me? I raised you for 5 years, but you're no better than raising a dog." I looked at her calmly and said, "Let's get a divorce. You haven't cooked in such a long time? You want to starve me to death, right? Go and cook. You useless coward. You loser. You garbage." She kept swearing and didn't listen to me at all. I shut up and waited for her to stop talking. She threw her bag on the coffee table and went into the bathroom. Bang! Her bag fell off the coffee table, the zipper was unzipped, and the contents of the bag fell to the ground. A piece of paper floated to my feet. I picked it up and looked at it, and my head buzzed. This is a pregnancy test report. Lin he is pregnant. The fetus is already 3 months old. Looking at the pregnancy test report, my mind went blank. Is this child mine? Although Lin he has many boyfriends, she goes home every night. In bed, she seemed like a different person, very well behaved, in stark contrast to her arrogance and domineering behavior during the day. She was gentle and affectionate at night, and looked at me with loving eyes. Sometimes I feel confused and think she has become a different person at night, or rather, a different core. No matter how affectionate she was at night, she would return to her true nature during the day and speak harshly to me. She even scolded me. "If I hadn't seen that you could satisfy me in bed, I would have told you to get out a long time ago." Because she comes back every night, I'm not sure if she's sleeping with other men. I don't know whose child this is. If it is mine, can I still get a divorce? If we get divorced, what will happen to the children? Lin he came out, and I held up the pregnancy test report and asked, "Are you pregnant?" She glanced at me with disdain. "What does it have to do with you?" I asked, "Whose child is this?" She looked at me mockingly. "It's not yours anyway." This is her personal admission that she slept with someone else. It was like a bucket of cold water was poured over my head. My endurance of humiliation ultimately became a joke. I put down the report and said, "Lin he, let's get divorced." Lin he widened his eyes in shock. "What did you say?" "Say it again." I said, "Let's get divorced." Lin he slammed the coffee table, pointed at me and cursed, "Chen Wannan. Are you so bold? If you dare to divorce me, I will make you lose everything and become a beggar on the street." I took out my and her IDs. "Let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau now." "I don't want to wait another minute." Lin he was furious. "Are you serious about this? Chen Yuan. I'm telling you, we had a property equity fair before we got married. If you divorce, you won't get a penny of my family's property." I laughed and said, "Now I have no right to use a penny of your family's money. Didn't I take care of your food and drink? You divorced me, but you can still live in my villa and drive my luxury car? And you can still earn a high salary from my company?" I laughed sarcastically. "How much of a high salary do I earn in your family? Have I ever seen a penny on my salary card every month? I'm keeping it for you." "Then please give it back to me now." Lin he said contemptuously, "What are you dreaming about? You eat my food, wear my clothes, use my things, and live in my house. Isn't it your responsibility to use the money you earn to supplement the family expenses?" I had no interest in arguing with her any further. "Do you want a divorce or not? If you do, let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau right now. If you don't, I'll sue you directly." Lin he threw the bag at me angrily. "Go ahead and sue. Let's see what the court decides." I opened the door and walked out. I went to a lawyer, wrote a divorce complaint, and submitted it to the court. From that day on, I no longer went back to the Lin family, but instead took care of my mother in the hospital. Lin he never called me. I knew she was waiting for me to lower my head. If I took the initiative to go back, she would humiliate me even more. My mother knew that I had filed for divorce and wanted to leave the hospital. I said, "Since she hasn't stopped paying for her treatment, you can just stay here and wait until I divorce her." A week later, Lin he suddenly called me and asked, "Where did you go?" I asked back, did you receive a subpoena? She cursed angrily, Shen Wannan. You forgot the hunger and cold after 3 days of full meals, didn't you? Have you forgotten how miserable you were 5 years ago? If it weren't for my father helping you, your father's urn would have nowhere to be placed, and your mother would have died long ago. Have you forgotten all this? I raised you for 5 years in vain, and you actually sued me for divorce. Do you have any conscience? It seems that Lin He was so angry after receiving the court summons that he was going crazy. I calmly said, if you come with me to the Civil Affairs Bureau to go through the divorce procedures now, I will withdraw the lawsuit. Daydreaming. She hung up the phone angrily. I leaned on the railing, looked at the dense crowd downstairs, and wondered what Lin He would do next. If she insists on not getting a divorce, will the court make the decision according to my wishes? In the afternoon, Lin He came to the hospital. She rushed directly into my mother's hospital room and asked my mother to judge, your son wanted to divorce me when he knew I was pregnant. Isn't this just abandoning me? As a mother, you don't care about it. Do you have any family discipline? My mother looked at me in surprise. Lin He is pregnant? I nodded, yes, but not mine. Lin He shouted angrily, you say it's not true? Do you have any evidence? I asked back, does what you said count as evidence? She yelled, I was just saying that in anger during a quarrel. Can you take it seriously? You were hooking up with those men? Does that count as evidence? What nonsense are you talking about? I was at a legitimate social event. Which night did I not go home? It's not like I only sleep at night. You. Lin He was at a loss for words and turned to me for evidence. You said the child is not yours, do you have a paternity test? I responded, you said the child is mine, do you have a paternity test? She was speechless and left angrily. My mother looked at me worriedly and said, Lin He is pregnant. It's not easy for you to get a divorce now. Regardless of whether the child is yours or not, the court will not make a ruling. I said, don't worry, Mom, she will leave me on her own. I chased after Lin He and called out, if you take the initiative to divorce me, I can withdraw the lawsuit. Otherwise, I will make the evidence of your cheating public. Lin He became even angrier, okay, don't regret it. I watched her walk away, feeling unsure. If she is not afraid of being embarrassed, then even if I make it public I cannot force her to divorce. The next day, Lin He's parents came to the hospital. Father Lin asked kindly, Shen Yuan, you and he are doing fine, why do you suddenly want to divorce? I answered, she knows why. Lin's mother pointed at me and cursed, you ungrateful dog, how has my daughter ever wronged you? You want a divorce. I said, how has she wronged me? Go back and ask her yourself. Lin's mother rushed over and hit me. I stepped out of the way. Father Lin suddenly hugged me from behind and shouted, don't do it, let's talk it over. He held me so tightly that I couldn't move, and Lin's mother took the opportunity to slap me in the face. She beat him and scolded him, you gigolo, my family paid to send your father to the mountain and your mother to the hospital. My daughter fed you for free and raised you for 5 years. Now she is pregnant and you want to divorce her. Are you still a human being? You are a beast. You are worse than a beast. My mother was so anxious that she got out of bed to help me, let my son go, let my son go. Before she could get close, she was tripped by Lin's father and fell. I was furious and kicked Lin's mother in the stomach. She was kicked by me and took several steps back. She fell on her buttocks and sat on the ground, holding her stomach and screaming in pain. Father Lin was furious and hit me from behind, cursing as he hit me, you disobedient and unfilial thing, how dare you lay hands on your mother-in-law? I couldn't even touch her, who do you think you are? I grabbed his hair with my backhand, what mother-in-law? I will divorce your daughter soon. You have nothing to do with me anymore. If you hit me again, I will pull out all your hair one by one. He protected his scalp in pain and shouted, ouch, ouch. Let go. Let go. Many people gathered around and pointed. The nurse ran in and pulled me away, what are you doing? This is a hospital, please don't make loud noises. I turned around, helped my mother up, and put her back on the hospital bed. Father Lin rubbed his head, his voice trembling with anger, Shen Yuan, you have been married into my family for so many years, and your mother and I have never done you any wrong. You beat and scolded us today, is that reasonable? I sneered, you were the first to start. Besides, you know very well whether you have done me wrong or not. What's wrong with us taking action? As your elders, we can't teach you a lesson when you do something wrong? Don't use moral blackmail. I have no blood relationship with you, and I don't have an elder like you. You can only teach your own daughter a lesson, you have no right to teach me a lesson. Lynn's mother sat on the ground and cried loudly. She slapped her thigh and told me how kind her family had been to me and how heartless I was. My daughter is virtuous, sensible, well-educated, and beautiful. Men who want to marry her can line up for 2 miles. But she has liked you since she was a child, and she is determined to marry you. After we got married, she gave you the best and wanted to worship you like an ancestor. Now she is only 3 months pregnant, and you have changed your mind and want to abandon her. Which vixen has bewitched you? My poor daughter, not only were you abandoned by a heartless man, he also beat us up. Who will give us justice? She was crying and shouting, her voice was very shrill, and no one could hear what I said. The onlookers pointed at me and called me an ungrateful villain and a modern-day chin shimmy. What are you arguing about? A loud voice rang out. I turned around and saw 2 policemen walking in. Everyone suddenly fell silent. The police inquired about the situation. I said, the baby their daughter was pregnant with was not mine, so I asked for a divorce, and they beat and scolded me. Public opinion immediately reversed, and onlookers were talking about it like crazy. Is your daughter cheating on you? No wonder my son-in-law wants a divorce. It's not his child, why should he help raise your daughter? Isn't it normal for your daughter to divorce your son-in-law if he doesn't learn well? That's right. You still have the nerve to lecture others. Go back and educate your daughter properly first. Father Lin rushed over to hit me. You son of a bitch, how dare you slander my daughter? I didn't move, just stared at him coldly. It was the first time he saw my sharp eyes. He was still frightened by the fact that I had just pulled his hair. He didn't dare to slap anyone, but he was unwilling to take it back, so he just froze in the air. At this time, the police came over to intervene and said, don't do it, talk it over nicely. Father Lin took the opportunity to put down his slap, pointed at me and cursed, you sleep in the same bed with my daughter every day. If the child is not yours, then whose is it? You are throwing dirty water on my daughter just to get a divorce. You bastard. Lynn's mother cried and said that I hit her and asked me to be arrested. The onlookers testified that they were the ones who hit me first and that I was acting in self-defense. But this is ultimately a family conflict, and the police asked us to negotiate on our own to see whether we can reach a mutual understanding or go through legal procedures. Mother Lin yelled, shameless thing, you slandered my daughter, and I can't teach you a lesson? She turned to Lynn's father and said, here's father, we must follow the legal procedures and put him in jail. Father Lin immediately scolded her, what nonsense are you talking about? We are all family, why do we need to go through legal procedures? Mother Lin was confused, but don't say but. Young people make mistakes and should be given a chance to correct them. Father Lin turned to me and said hypocritically, Ayuan, I apologize to you first. Just now I saw you kicking your mother-in-law, and I attacked you in a hurry. I shouldn't be so impulsive. But as an old friend of your father, I am both your father-in-law and your uncle, and I think I am qualified to educate you. It's just that the method was wrong. No matter what, I shouldn't have been violent with you. I admit my mistakes and I will correct them. But Ayuan, as an elder, I still want to say a few words from the bottom of my heart. I understand you and he are quarreling. It's normal for couples to have conflicts. Don't your mother-in-law and I quarrel from time to time? But we are men, real men, we can bend and stretch, and we should not argue with women. Go back and apologize to Xiao He, and don't mention divorce anymore. We will let this matter go. You should also continue to go back to work. I interrupted him with amusement, you hit me, and you told me that you let bygones be bygones and want me to apologize? I turned to the police, I demand legal proceedings. Whether it's fighting or detention, I don't care. But as the president of the company, Lynn's father definitely does not want to be detained. His wife wouldn't want to suffer in the detention center. When Father Lin saw that I refused to give in, his expression suddenly changed. The couple came to the hospital and beat and scolded me, hoping to intimidate me and make me surrender. After all, they knew how Lin he bullied me in the past 5 years, and I just endured it. But he didn't expect that I was not as obedient as before, but was determined to fight them to the end, which made him feel difficult. Father Lin lowered his voice and shouted, Chen Yuan, what do you want? I calmly replied, I have solid evidence that Lin he cheated on me. If she doesn't divorce me, I will make the evidence public. You just wait for the court's decision. The Lin couple looked at each other. Father Lin asked, do you really want a divorce and don't care whether your mother lives or dies? My mother lives a better life after the divorce. Lin's mother said contemptuously, after the divorce, do you have money to treat your mother? I said calmly, don't worry about it, just ask Lin He to divorce me. Father Lin gnashed his teeth in anger and said, Shen Yuan here loves you dearly, and it was she who asked me to help bury your father. She was the one who asked me to pay for your mother's medical treatment. Your mother has been in the hospital for 5 years, and we paid for all the medical expenses. Now that Here is pregnant, you want to abandon her. Have you given your conscience to dogs? I laughed. Lin He loves me as much as his life? This is probably the biggest joke in the world. She loves me so much, but she abuses, tortures and humiliates me every day? She loves me so much that she would bring back different men every day and hug them in front of me? For 5 years, Lin He didn't treat me as a human being at all. I bet she would rather love a dog than me. Actually, Lin He and I were childhood sweethearts. My father and her father are old friends and the two families often interact with each other. So Lin He and I have known each other since we were young. Lin He was very well behaved and cute when she was a child. She looked like a doll, loved to talk and laugh, and everyone loved to tease her. She likes to follow me around, and adults say she is my little tail. But after she went to school, she gradually became willful and capricious. Ever since she was in elementary school, Lin He didn't like students who performed better than her and would tear up their books and exercise books. She also didn't like other people's clothes being prettier than hers, so she would either stain them with a pen or scratch them with a pencil sharpener. What's even more outrageous is if the teacher praises other students for their good dancing or singing. She would beat people after class and scratch other little girls' faces. Lin He is very unpopular and no child in school wants to play with her. If her parents correct her properly, it can be turned around. But her parents spoiled her very much. Not only did they not educate her, they also quarreled with other parents. Her mother said, my Lin He is very well behaved. If your child doesn't provoke her, she won't start a fight first. The more her parents spoiled her, the more domineering she became and the more she bullied her classmates. I also dislike her personality less and less. Once, she came to my house with her parents. She pestered me and drew all kinds of messy pictures on the back of my hands and wrists, and also drew a turtle on my forehead. I was so annoyed that I went out to play ball with my classmates. When I came back, I found my bedroom looked like it had been robbed. The sheets were painted with various colors, and my books and notebooks were torn into pieces and thrown all over the floor. The computer is also broken. I was so angry that I wanted to catch her and give her a good beating. But my mother stopped me. She said, your Uncle Lin spoils Lin here to the point of lawlessness. When you went to find her, Uncle Lin accused you of bullying his daughter. Forget it, don't bother with her. Next time she comes, lock the door. From then on, whenever Lin He came, I would go into the bedroom and lock the door. She knocked and kicked the door, but couldn't get in, so she rolled on the ground, crying and making a fuss. Her mother knocked on the door and said to me, Ayuan, open the door and let your sister come in and play for a while. I said, no, she messed up my room. Hey, just clean up in a while. I like you so much that I come in to play with you. I was determined not to let her in. I was annoyed by her noise, so I just left, still locking the door so that no one could get in. At that time, Lin He was already 14 or 15 years old, but still so ignorant. I was extremely disgusted with her. But maybe because of this, her self-esteem was hurt and she stopped coming to my house. After she turned 18, she suddenly came to me and claimed that she had loved me since childhood, and now that she was 18 years old, she could be my girlfriend. She also said, Shin Yuan, when you were little, you said you would marry me. I immediately retorted, I didn't say that. Then you can say it now. I said coldly, I don't want to have a girlfriend. Then think about it now. I don't have a girlfriend and I don't plan to get married. I made it so clear, but she still didn't give up and later confessed to me twice. I just said directly, you are not my type, there is no possibility for us to be together. She widened her eyes, you despise me? Shen Yuan, who do you think you are? How dare you despise me? I sneered, because I'm not a toy, so I don't like toy like you should find a toy that suits you. Lin He was furious, Shen Yuan, I will make you regret it. She ignored me and started chasing other boys. No one refused because she was really beautiful and rich, and she often treated everyone to meals and drinks. So she fell in love every day and changed boyfriends at any time. Finally, when she was still dating a boy, something happened in my family. She turned around and married me. Lin He forced me to marry into his family's family not out of love, but out of hatred. After 5 years of marriage, I've had enough. I looked at Father Lin and said, Lin He loves me? How can you say that? Father Lin was so angry that he gasped, why am I embarrassed? Did I say something wrong? Did he not give you food or clothes? The clothes she bought for you are all high-end fashion brands, more upscale than a father like me, and the shoes she bought for you are all several thousand yuan a pair, more expensive than mine. What else do you want? I smiled faintly, that's just to show off to you. I was dressed too poorly, and the Lin family would definitely be criticized for being bad to me as a live-in son-in-law. Father Lin cares a lot about the company's reputation and usually looks very righteous. He certainly couldn't let people talk about them behind my back for being so mean to me. This is also the reason why he doesn't want me and Lin He to divorce. If Lin He and I divorce, it will inevitably have a negative impact on the Lin family's company, and the market value and stock price will plummet. So he tried every possible means to prevent me from getting a divorce. But I was determined to leave. How could he stop me? He couldn't help but worry that I would expose the evidence of Lin He's cheating. That would be more explosive than a divorce and would have a greater impact on his company. He was silent for a moment, then softened his voice and said, if you really want a divorce, I won't stop you, but I have one condition, your divorce cannot be made public. I replied, I can keep it secret for 1 year. 1 year is too short. It should be at least 5 years. If we don't make it public for 5 years, does that mean I can't fall in love or get married for 5 years? I refused, no way, only 1 year. Seeing my firm attitude, Mr. Lin had no choice but to call Lin He. Lin He came with a divorce agreement. With a gloomy face, she slammed the agreement on the table. Open your dog eyes and read it carefully. Don't change a single word. I picked up the agreement and saw that it stated that I had no property to divide and that after the divorce, everything in my family would have nothing to do with the Lin family. She smiled with smugness and contempt. Did you see it clearly? Do you agree with these contents? I nodded, I agree. We signed a prenuptial agreement. The property before marriage is hers, and her money after marriage is also hers, and my money is used to cover household expenses. Our household expenses are extremely huge. My salary is far from enough to cover Lin He's food, clothing, and entertainment expenses. Of course, to show off, she also bought me the best clothes. So I was married for 5 years, but ended up with nothing and was kicked out of the house. Lin He tapped the table with his fingers and said, Chen Yuan, think it over. Once you get the divorce certificate, if you want to beg me to come back, you have to kneel on the ground and kowtow to me 100 times. I said, I'll tell you this, too. If you beg me, even if you kowtow 200 times, it will be useless. Lin He's face darkened. Since you're so stubborn, then sign it. I was just about to sign. She pressed the button again. Wait, let me add one more thing. After the divorce, you are not allowed to remarry or leave my house. My anger suddenly surged up in my heart. After 5 years of marriage, Lin He has always had a perverted desire to control me. I can't talk to any opposite sex, whether it's a colleague, a relative, or the female friends she brings with her. Whenever I look at another woman when I go out, she goes crazy and beats me when she comes back. Sometimes she didn't need to find a reason to beat me. She would beat me when she wanted to and scold me when she wanted to. For 5 years she treated me like a slave. It can be said that if Lin He wants me to kneel, I can't stand. She wants me to go east, and I can't go west. Originally I just didn't like her, but after we got married, her arrogance and domineering behavior made me hate her very much. I think every day about how I can escape from Lin He. Now, I finally have a chance to be free. But she still wants to control me for the rest of my life. I threw the pen away and said, let your parents go to jail. I'll post it on WeChat Moments to let everyone see how many men the noble and beautiful Miss Lin cheated with during her marriage. Lin He pointed at me and screamed, how dare you? Chen Yuan, you are the one who cheated on me. Do you have another woman? You divorced me just to marry that vixen, right? Who is she? Tell me, tell me. She wanted to change the subject, wanted to have a pointless argument with me, wanted to make me break down, and force me to give up my plan for divorce. I just found her hysteria ridiculous and would not fall for her trick. What? You are allowed to change men every day, but I am not allowed to divorce? She yelled, I am the one who supports you. You eat my food and use my things, but you even use my money to support a vixen outside. Who gave you the courage? I was too lazy to argue with her, so I picked up my phone and flipped through the photo album to show her. You tell me, should I post it online now or later? When Lin He saw the photos of her hugging and kissing different men, he was so angry that he trembled. You have been secretly taking pictures of me on the balcony. You are wrong. I didn't take any secret photos. I took them openly. I looked at her and said, you cheated on me, I have evidence. You keep saying I cheated on you, do you have evidence? Lin He argued, I'm not as scheming as you. Then what else is there to say? Lin He reached out to grab my phone. I dodged and said, it's useless, Lin He. Even if you smash my phone or delete these photos, it won't help because I still have a backup. She stamped her feet in anger, you are so shameless. I retorted, isn't it shameless for you to cuddle with other men? I'm just recording your ugly extramarital affair, and that's shameless? Lin He was so angry that he couldn't speak. Seeing that I had solid evidence to prove that Lin He had cheated on his wife, Father Lin calmed down and persuaded Lin He, forget it, here, just get a divorce. If you divorce this loser, my daughter will be able to find someone who is 100 times better than him. Lin He yelled at me angrily, then sign it. What are you waiting for? Wait for me to kneel down and invite you? I signed and asked, when do you go to the Civil Affairs Bureau? She grabbed the agreement and stood up proudly, I'll talk to you when I have time. I nodded, don't worry, we can go to the Civil Affairs Bureau after the court session. Her expression changed, I have already signed the divorce agreement, why don't you withdraw the lawsuit? I replied, once I get the divorce certificate, I will naturally withdraw the lawsuit and sign the letter of understanding. Lin He laughed angrily. Even when her parents called out to her from behind, she did not turn back. I'm not in a hurry at all. The Lin family is such a big company, and Lin's father definitely doesn't want his family's scandals to be exposed, and he is even more unwilling to go to the detention center. And I had nothing left to lose. After a while, Lin He called and said, I'm at the Civil Affairs Bureau. If you want to leave, come here right away. I won't wait for you. I didn't want to waste any time, so I quickly went to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Lin He stood on the steps, looking at me with disdain, and said arrogantly, as soon as I get the divorce certificate, I will cut off all expenses for your mother. It's not too late for you to regret it now. I smiled contemptuously, do you regret it? Lin He was immediately furious and shouted, what do I have to regret? I don't have to support a loser like you anymore. I'm so happy. I have plenty of money. I can just wave my hand and countless men will come to ask for my hand in marriage. I can choose whoever I want. Who the hell are you, Chen Wannan? I gestured, then why are you still hesitating? Go in. I'm warning you not to regret it. The sound of the bell is very loud. Don't worry, there is no word regret in my dictionary. She walked in aggressively in her high heels. Since we got married, Lin He has always acted superior to me, bossing me around and showing off his power. But I was servile to her and allowed myself to be beaten and scolded. During this period, I suddenly straightened my back and was not afraid of any threats from her. She was angry and hateful, but also confused and didn't know how to deal with me. While signing, Lin He complained that the pen was not easy to use and cursed. After a while she complained that I was standing too close to her, blocking her arm and affecting her writing. The staff looked at her with a hint of disdain. I guess they are also thinking, which man can stand such a bad temper? It would be strange if they don't divorce. After hesitating for a long time, she finally signed. The marriage finally ended in divorce. I was freed from 5 years of imprisonment. Lin He held the divorce certificate, looked at me and said, Mr. Chen, you have nothing to do with me anymore. You don't need to inform me when you bury your mother. I clenched my fists and said, I'm going to give you this, too. When your parents go to jail, don't come begging me. She was immediately furious, Chen Yuan. What do you mean? You won't let my parents go? I replied, I can let them beat me up. Then why are you cursing my parents? I said coldly, didn't you just curse my mother too? I turned and left. Now that I had obtained the divorce certificate, I transferred my mother to another hospital in the city. My mother said worriedly, let me be discharged from the hospital. We can't spend the Lin family's money anymore. I said, we are spending my own money now. It has nothing to do with the Lin family. Don't worry, Mom. Linny thought I really had nothing and was sure that I would not dare to divorce, or if I divorced, I would go back and beg her to remarry me. She doesn't know that I have been working part-time online for the past 5 years. I help people create web pages, write copy for people to promote products, write articles for self-media to share my knowledge and common sense, and even write some novels. In short, I don't miss any opportunity to make money. Lin he didn't understand these things. She was a rich second generation and had never found another job since she was born. After graduating from university, Lin's father arranged a sinecure for her in the company. She didn't have to go to work, she just had to collect salary and spend money. So she didn't know that I had so many ways to make money, and she wasn't on guard against me. She thought I worked honestly in her company every day, and went home honestly after get off work to do housework and serve her. I thought that as long as she was in charge of my salary card, every penny of my money would pass under her nose, and it would be impossible for me to save some money for myself. After I had some savings, I learned how to manage my finances and bought stocks. I am talented in this area, probably because I inherited my father's business acumen. When I had accumulated enough funds, I started a company with the same business scope as Lin's enterprise and became his competitor. Of course, the Lin family knew nothing about this. Although I started my own company, I still work at Lin's enterprise. In my company, I just give remote commands. Lin here and her mother both hold positions in the Lin group, but they never go to work or take care of the company. In the eyes of the company's employees, I, as a son-in-law, will definitely be the successor of the Lin group in the future. So everyone is very flattering to me. Every time Mr. Lin goes on a business trip, I am the temporary person in charge of the company. This gave me the opportunity to accompany the client and also provided me with the client's detailed information. I secretly sent the relevant information to people in my company, and then asked them to poach the customers with more favorable cooperation terms. There were some business projects that Lin's father originally wanted to take over. When I found out about this, I immediately let people from my company get there first. Father Lin knew that there was a new company that was competing with him for business, but he didn't expect that it was my company. The reason I did this was not only because I hated Linny, but also because the bankruptcy of my company was related to Lin's father. In order to obtain conclusive evidence, I worked diligently in the Lin family's company every day and endured my anger in front of Linhee. But I was secretly collecting evidence of the Lin family's crimes, and I also started my own company to compete for the Lin family's resources and poach their talents. After working hard for a few years, my company has grown to a considerable size and I no longer have to worry about having money to treat my mother's illness. I have almost collected all the evidence about how the Lin family harmed my father. So when my mother asked me to divorce, I agreed without hesitation. Now that I have the divorce certificate in hand, it's time to make the Lin family pay the price. On the day of my divorce, I took a photo when I went to the police station to sign the agreement. I posted the photo online with the caption, "I was beaten by my parents-in-law, but I didn't fight back because they were my elders." The letter of understanding has my and Mr. Lin's signatures. Father Lin is also a well-known figure in our city. So this incident soon caused a sensation. Lin's stock price plummeted and hit the lower limit in a short period of time. Father Lin saw the news online and called me angrily, "Chen Yuan, what do you mean? You promised not to make it public." I replied, "I promised not to make the divorce public, but I didn't promise not to make other things public." You? He was speechless. In order to calm the anger of netizens, the next day, Lin's father posted an apology video using the official account of Lin's Enterprises. My daughter and son-in-law had a quarrel. When I was trying to teach them a lesson, I couldn't hold back and hit the two children. I went to the police station. As an elder, I didn't control my emotions. It was my fault. Linhee replied, "This is the first time my dad has hit me since I was a child." I called the police out of anger. Now I know that my dad is doing this for our own good. I accept his teachings and apologize to him here. I'm sorry, Dad. This father and daughter are good at singing a duet. The audience's discussion was diverted. It was originally, unscrupulous parents-in-law beat up their son-in-law and took the case to the police station, but now it has become, how pitiful the parents' hearts are. Mr. and Mrs. Lin resorted to violence to teach their daughter a lesson. In the minds of netizens, beating a son-in-law and teaching a daughter a lesson are completely different in nature. Beating his son-in-law will give Lin's father a negative image and he will be scolded by others. But when he taught his daughter a lesson, his image became positive, and parents gave him thumbs up, saying that children should be educated if they did something wrong. The Lin family's stock market began to recover. I immediately posted another set of photos, which showed the injuries on my face and head, with the title, "The Price of 5 Years of Marriage." Every time Lin he hit me and ordered me to treat the wound, I took pictures. This set of photos showed both old and new injuries, and netizens were excited again. Oh my god, how many times has this been beaten? Was it General Manager Lin who beat him, or was it his daughter? Boss Lin looks like a decent person, but I didn't expect him to be so cruel to his son-in-law. His daughter is not a good person either. Why did she let her father beat her husband like this? Maybe she'll join in the fight. Yes, it is very likely that the three of them beat up their son-in-law together. Chen Yuan is so pitiful. Get a divorce now. You can't divorce a rich family just because you want to. Otherwise, why would he endure it for 5 years? I'd rather die than be a door-to-door man. The share price of Lin Group plummeted again. On the contrary, Lin's father remained silent. He didn't come to me for an explanation, nor did he explain anything online. It was obvious that he knew his daughter often abused me. But he didn't expect that I left so much evidence. Of course he knew that nothing he said now would help, and might even irritate me and cause me to reveal more evidence. So he could only remain silent. His idea is that once the heat of this scandal has died down, the stock price will rise again. The stock market is something that will always go up and down. However, the drop was quite severe this time, lasting for a week, with the stock price hitting the lower limit at the opening every day. The Lin family never called me. They may be a little afraid of me now, afraid that I will catch them in some way. In the second week, Lin Group's stock price began to rise again. I'll throw out another set of photos, which are photos of Lin he hugging and kissing different men. The discussion among netizens became more heated. The daughter of the Lin family cheated on her husband? And cheated on so many men? How shameless. The family tradition is too bad. Did her husband commit domestic violence after he found out she was cheating on him? It must be. No wonder Chen Yuan has so many injuries on his body. How shameless. She is the one at fault for cheating. She was wrong first. Why does she beat her husband? Because she is rich and because her husband is alive and son-in-law. Being alive and son-in-law is not a reason for her to commit domestic violence. Call the police and arrest that woman. The letter of apology that was exposed last time was the one that Chen Yuan reported to the police, right? Why did he forgive him again? We forced him to sign. He's alive and son-in-law with no family to protect him. What can he do? Amid the heated discussion among the public, the share price of Lin Group was once again stuck at the lower limit. Lin Yi called me and shouted at the top of his lungs, "Chen Yuan, what on earth are you going to do? You said you wouldn't release the evidence." I interrupted her. When did I say that? She was stunned. You said that you would only let me go if I didn't divorce you. But I have already divorced you, why did you let me go? I replied, I did say that if you don't divorce me, I will release the evidence of your cheating. But I didn't say that if you divorce me, I will not release it. You. I can imagine how angry Lin he was at what I said. I didn't say anything more to her and just hung up. This wave of decline in the Lin Group lasted for almost a month, and the stock price fell terribly. I used all my funds to buy at the bottom, and even used the company's mortgage loan to buy a large amount of Lin stocks. It's the end of the year, and the Lin Group holds its annual shareholders meeting as usual. When I walked into the meeting room, Father Lin pointed at me and shouted, "Who let you in? Get out." I said, "Isn't this a shareholders meeting? You still know it's a shareholders meeting? Are you a shareholder?" Father Lin called his assistant, called the security guards to kick out the irrelevant people. During this period, I broke the news one after another, causing the stock price of Lin Group to plummet. The directors went to Lin's father's house to argue and forced him to find a solution. He was so anxious and angry, and hated me so much that he didn't care about his face or appearance anymore. I said calmly, "Mr. Lin, I, Chen Yuan, am now the largest shareholder of the company." His eyes widened. "What did you say? Are you crazy?" I bought the bottom for several consecutive days and bought a large number of Lin's shares, becoming the largest shareholder of Lin Group. His assistant handed over a document. "Mr. Lin, haven't you seen the latest list of shareholders? Mr. Chen Yuan is now the company's largest shareholder." Father Lin's hands trembled as he looked at the information. After a while, he looked up and pointed at me and yelled, "Where did you get the money? Did you steal my family's money? And you also embezzled my company's public funds? call the police and arrest this thief." Before he could finish, several policemen walked in. Father Lin immediately pointed at me and said arrogantly, "Brothers, you came at the right time. Chen Yuan stole my family's money and embezzled public funds. Take him back and investigate him." The police ignored him and walked straight up to him, showing his arrest warrant. Before that, I sorted out the materials on the suspected crimes of the Lin couple, made many copies, and submitted them to the police and the court. Now when Lin's father saw that the police wanted to arrest him, he was shocked. "No, you made a mistake. How could it be wrong?" The couple were suspected of multiple crimes including unfair business competition, tax evasion, bribery, and selling inferior raw materials as high-quality ones, so it was inevitable that they would be arrested. Not only was Lin's father arrested, but his wife couldn't escape either. Lin He learned the news not long after Lin's father was arrested. She rushed to the company, pulled me out of the meeting room, and yelled angrily, "Shin Yuan, didn't you say you would let my parents go? Why don't you keep your word?" I replied, "I signed a letter of apology on the spot when they beat me." "Doesn't that mean they didn't pursue the matter? Then why were my parents arrested again? Wasn't it you who sent them there?" I laughed and said, "I'm not that capable. They went to jail because they committed crimes themselves. But they have been fine for so many years. How come they got into trouble not long after I divorced you? You have to ask yourself that." Lin He was so angry that his voice trembled. "You mean I offended you, so you took revenge on my parents? How have my parents wronged you? They are the ones who bought your company so that you have money to pay off your debts. My dad used the money to help you bury your father, so that he can rest in peace. It was my father who sent your mother to the hospital, so she is still alive today. My parents have been so kind to you, and yet you framed them. Do you still have a conscience?" I sneered, "The kindness your parents showed me? Do you know how my company collapsed? Your parents ruined it. They ruined my dad's company. My father was forced to death. My mother was left bedridden. You still want me to be grateful to them? Lin He, are you speaking human language?" Lin He was stunned and screamed, "Impossible. My parents are such kind people, how could they ruin your company? How could they harm your parents? Stop throwing dirty water on them, you ungrateful bastard." I said coldly, "You are the real ungrateful wolves. It was my father who led your father into the business. After my father's business grew, we asked your father to provide us with raw materials. My dad was worried that your dad didn't have enough funds, so we always gave him money first and asked him to buy the goods. Your family's company has been able to grow step by step, all thanks to my father's support. But in the end, because of your selfishness, your father destroyed our family." Lin He didn't seem to understand. "What do you mean by my own selfish interests? Explain clearly." I replied, "You pursued me 3 times, but I rejected you. You held a grudge against me and cried in front of your parents." Lin He's parents doted on their only daughter very much. From childhood to adulthood, they would try their best to satisfy whatever Lin He wanted. In Mr. Lin's eyes, it is my blessing that his beautiful daughter likes me, and I should agree to date her and try my best to please her. But I rejected Lin He's confession, which led to her crying and smashing things at home every day. Father Lin felt that I was the cause of his daughter's unhappiness. In order to make his daughter happy, he forced me to marry her. Lin's father came to my father's house and proposed marriage. My father knew that I didn't like Lin He, so he declined, saying, "The children are still in school, so let us talk about love affairs after they graduate." Alas, children are grown up and no longer under the control of their mothers. As parents, we cannot interfere in the feelings of young people. Lin's father felt very ashamed that as the girl, he came to ask for marriage from his daughter, but my father refused, so he held a grudge against him. From then on, he planned to destroy my family's company step by step. In this way, he not only took over my family's company, but also made me Lin He's prisoner, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I said angrily, "You rely on your parents' love for you and you must get whatever you want. If you can't get it, you would rather destroy it." She said, "I didn't mean to destroy you, let alone your family." I raised my voice, "But our family has been destroyed by you. It was your parents who destroyed it. You are still blaming me now, how dare you? You 3 are all ungrateful people." Lin He was speechless. I ignored her and went back to the meeting room and said, "Boss Lin has been arrested. It is still unknown when or if he will be released. The company cannot be without a leader for a day. Let's re-elect the chairman." Lin He rushed in and yelled, "What are you choosing? My father is the largest shareholder of the company. If he's gone, I'll inherit it. Now I'm the chairman. I asked back, Ms. Lin, what you mean is that whoever is the largest shareholder is the chairman, right? Right. Lin's father's assistant whispered in her ear, Miss Chen Yuan is now the largest shareholder. Lin He was as shocked as her father, and she also pointed at me and cursed, saying that I stole her gold and silver jewelry and sold them for the money, and that I embezzled public funds. When she had almost finished scolding me, I said coldly, if you have evidence, go ahead and sue me. If you don't have evidence, shut up. If you continue to slander me, I will sue you for defamation, and you three will be reunited in prison. Lin He stared at me blankly like a fool. She probably couldn't understand why I, who had been submissive in front of her for the past 5 years, suddenly became a different person and was no longer the coward who allowed her to beat and scold me. Let us continue with the shareholders' meeting. I have the largest shares, and Lin's father has the second largest shares. Lin He held a meeting on behalf of her father and wanted to compete with me for the position of chairman. When the shareholders heard that Lin He wanted to compete for the position of chairman, they all shook their heads. Because apart from showing up at company parties and walking the runway as a princess, Lin He is rarely seen. And I have worked diligently in the company for 5 years. In the eyes of everyone, I am modest, hardworking, worldly wise, and my work ability is beyond doubt. In order to win votes, she and I each had to talk about our ideas on how to lead the company forward. I let her speak first. Lin He probably never thought about managing the company himself. He didn't even understand the basic situation of the company, and the ideas he talked about were empty and false, which made the shareholders shake their heads. When I spoke, I brought out specific data and explained with reason and evidence how I would lead the company's development. Of course, I won in the end, and I was elected chairman of the Lin Group with a high vote. I then changed the name of the company to Chen Shang Group. This was the name of my dad's previous company. After the company officially released the announcement, it indicated that the Lin family's empire collapsed overnight. Lin He had another big fight with me about changing my name. But it's no use, I'm the chairman and she can't change my decision. I now manage 2 companies, and the one I founded is also preparing to go public. I am so busy with work every day that I have no time to pay attention to what Lin He is doing. Before I knew it, 2 months had passed. Lin He called me and said, I want to see you. There is actually nothing good between her and me, but I still have a score to settle with her. I also want to hear what she wants to say to me. In a private room of the tea house, I saw a person in a condom. A hat, sunglasses, a mask, and an ankle-length coat wrapped the whole body tightly. I can't recognize who it is at all. Chen Yuan. Only when she started talking did I recognize her voice. I laughed sarcastically, is it Lin He? If you're like this, how can I know who's pretending to be you? When she took off her sunglasses and mask, I almost couldn't recognize her. Her eye sockets were sunken and her dark eye sockets were frighteningly large. His cheeks were thin and pale, and he looked extremely haggard. Is this dusty and dusty image still the unruly, willful and domineering eldest daughter of the Lin family? It must be said that she has changed a lot. In the past, she always wore heavy, flamboyant makeup and fashionable, high-end clothes. When she walked, she always held her head high, looking at people at a 45-degree angle, looking down on everyone. Now, she pulled the brim of her hat down low and huddled up when she sat, for fear of attracting other people's attention. In the past, she liked to wear clothes that exposed her chest, waist and thighs, showing her sexiness in all directions. Today, her clothes were so long that they covered her neck and ankles completely, for fear of being recognized. It's normal for Lin He to look haggard. After her parents were arrested, she tried to fight with me for control of the company, but she knew nothing about management and lost miserably. At that time, her mentality collapsed a lot. She didn't believe that her parents had committed a crime, so she hired a lawyer at a high price to try to get her parents out. But she knew nothing and was busy running around every day. It is hard for someone who has never worried about anything to not feel exhausted when he suddenly worries about so many things. Lin He looked at me and smiled, but her smile was uglier than crying. The lawyer said that my parents might never be able to get out of this life. I smiled and said, not only can they not get out, they will most likely be sentenced to death. Because my father didn't commit suicide by jumping off the building, but was pushed down by them. The reason is that my dad discovered that the Lin couple was plotting against our company. My dad went to him and questioned him angrily. They killed the person to silence him, and later said that my father committed suicide by jumping off a building due to huge debts. When I rushed to my father's side, he was already dead. I knelt beside his broken body, looked at his unrecognizable face, and desperately called out Dad, but he could no longer answer me. His eyes were wide open, looking at the gray sky, as if he had a lot to say to me, but he never had the chance to speak. Lynn's mother cried bitterly beside me. Father Lynn said to me with a sad face, "Your father came to me specially and begged me to take care of you and your son." I thought he was going to jail because he owed too much debt, but I didn't expect that he would end up in such a desperate situation. If I had known earlier, I should have held him back and protected him. It was my negligence. Ayun, Uncle is sorry for you. Their hypocrisy deceived countless people. But you can't fool me. Because I know that my father is a strong man and he would never abandon me and my mother because of debt. Mr. Lin was very cunning and he erased all traces. There was no surveillance at the scene, so although I suspected him, I had no evidence. At the time, the police did not find any problems with him and could not bring him to justice. I was determined to find out the truth, so I endured the humiliation and became the son-in-law of the Lin family. Lin, he stammered, you know everything? How come I don't know? It was me who collected the evidence of their crimes and handed it over to the police. It took me 5 full years to find all the evidence. For the past 5 years, I have been thinking that my father might never understand until his death. He has always been loyal and righteous, but why did his most trusted brother want to harm him? Lin, he stammered, I'll give you all my property and the company's shares. Can you let my parents go? Let him go? I felt like I heard a huge joke. Lin, he nodded hurriedly, as long as you sign a letter of understanding, my parents will not be sentenced to death. I asked her, tell me, what reason do I have to forgive the enemy who killed my father? I'll give you all my money, my dad's, my mom's, and mine, all of it. This woman is really naive. I said contemptuously, do I need your money? Besides, even if your parents are sentenced to death, you still have to compensate me. I got up to leave. Lin, he stopped me and said, Chen Yuan, can I beg you for this? Her face was full of anxiety and her eyes were filled with tears, as if she was about to cry at any second. I have no pity in my heart. I was also so anxious 5 years ago, and I begged her with tears in my eyes, but what did I get in return? What I got in return was endless abuse and humiliation. I asked calmly, what do you want to ask me for? Lin, he said hurriedly, I will give you everything. Also, the child in my belly is yours. For the sake of the child, please let his grandparents go. I laughed, you said it yourself, the child is not mine. I was trying to piss you off, Chen Yuan. You know I love you very much. I said sarcastically, I know, because you love me, so you insult me, abuse me, and beat me at will. Which man wants such perverted love? Lin, he defended, it's because I love you too much. Maybe my way of expressing it is wrong, but I really love you. I interrupted her, you throw yourself into the arms of someone you don't love and flirt with him, but you beat and kick the one you love and humiliate him. Your way of expressing yourself is not wrong, it's super perverted. I turned and left. She rushed over and knelt down in front of me. Chen Yuan. Linny hugged my legs and cried, the child is really yours, I didn't lie to you, please don't leave, okay? I looked down at her. Once upon a time, she was an arrogant and domineering eldest daughter, overbearing and bossy. I was as lowly as a dog in front of her. She called me a loser and a wimp. I felt so humbled that I was reduced to dust. Now our world is dreamily turned upside down. She probably never thought that this day would come. But I knew that sooner or later our world would turn upside down. The mistakes her parents made will eventually come back to haunt her. She will also pay the price for her ignorance and arrogance. I said, don't say that the child may not be mine. Even if it is, we are divorced and the child in your belly has nothing to do with me. I strode away. Lin, he cried behind me, I just love you. What's wrong with me loving you? You can stop loving me, but why do you still hate me so much? I stopped. I don't know how she had the nerve to say those things. Is her feeling towards me really love? As the old saying goes, love the house and love the dog. If Lin he loves me, shouldn't he also love my parents? But her parents destroyed my family, and she has no respect for my mom at all. Her so-called love is just an obsession that keeps bothering her because she can't get it. If you can't get it, you destroy it. If you get it, you don't cherish it and instead torture it cruelly. What kind of love is this? I have a lot of things I want to say to accuse her and make her feel ashamed. But I suddenly lost interest again. So what if I scold her? I have more important things to do and don't need to waste my time on her. I kept walking. She chased him out, bursting into tears and saying, "We have slept in the same bed for 5 years. Every night, I was affectionate to you and you were gentle to me. Have you forgotten all that? How dare you say that you have no feelings for me at all?" There were people watching outside the tea house, and I didn't want to be the subject of random speculation and discussion. I turned around and said, "Every night, you were so sweet to me, but every day, you throw yourself into the arms of different men, cheating on me countless times. Whose child is this in your belly? Can you figure it out yourself?" She couldn't shout anymore, only tears kept falling. I leaned close to her ear and whispered, "I am so gentle to you in order to confuse you. Otherwise, how can I gain your father's trust? If I don't have sex with her and don't sleep with her at night, she will complain to her father and Mr. Lin will become suspicious of me." So I used her as a tool to vent my anger every night, but she thought I was expressing my love for her. She may not know that men don't need love to do that. Lin He looked at me with eyes full of fear. She only now realized that my motives in marrying her were impure from the very beginning. The Lin family thought they were controlling me by forcing me to become a son-in-law, but they didn't expect that I was the one controlling them from the beginning. A good hunter always appears as prey. After leaving the tea house, I called a lawyer and formally filed a civil lawsuit against the Lin family. I want to take back everything the Lin family owes me, including the principal and interest. It is never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. I will calculate every penny of the debt that the Lin family owes me. After Lin He received the subpoena, he came to me again. She burst into tears and said, "Do you really want to kill me? My parents can't come out, and I'm pregnant. You took away all my property. How can I live as an orphan and a widow?" I asked coldly, "You killed all my family members and took away all my property. Have you ever considered how I will live? But I'm supporting you. Haven't I always been supporting you?" "Ha!" I laughed. "You call that supporting me? I'm not even as good as the dog you support." This is not a metaphor, but a fact. In front of Lin He, I am worse than a dog. When I married her, she had a dog at home, a golden retriever, and it was very handsome. But the name is not cool, Lin He calls it Little Jian Jian. After we got married, it was just the two of us, and she yelled, "Shen the jerk." I was stunned. The golden retriever ran over and jumped into her arms. She rolled around on the sofa with the golden retriever in her arms, hugging and being affectionate with him. Then she said to me, "Its full name is Chen Jiannan, the same as yours. He is your brother. You have to be respectful to him and take good care of him." At that moment, I felt deeply humiliated, but I could only grit my teeth and swallow it. Originally, she had a maid at home who was responsible for taking care of the dog and doing housework. After we got married, she fired the maid and I became her maid. I not only had to serve her, but also had to take care of the dog. These two are quite difficult to please. Golden retrievers are very energetic and need to be taken for a walk several times a day. But I had a lot of housework to do and had to listen to Lin He's lecture. "If you take it out later, it will destroy the house. I am the only one who has to clean up the house it has destroyed. The presence of this golden retriever has greatly increased my workload." Lin He bought the best dog food, the best clothes, and a lot of toys for the golden retriever. Every day when she goes out, she would say to the golden retriever, "Bye, bye, little bastard." When she comes back, she will call out, "Shen Jiannan, come here, give me a kiss." She chatted with the golden retriever and asked, "Little bastard, did Chen Wannan bully you? Did he steal your dog food? Did he play with your toys?" Lin He is not always gentle to the golden retriever. She is moody, and when she gets angry with me, she will also take it out on the golden retriever. "You two bastards, I feed you and clothe you, but you still don't take me seriously. You are not allowed to eat tonight." The golden retriever didn't know what he had done wrong. He hung his head, looked at her and then at me, with pitiful eyes. After Lin He finished training us and we left, I stroked the golden retriever's head to comfort it. The golden retriever clings to my palm. Of course, I'm the only one who can't eat at night, and the golden retriever's dog food will not be skimped on. So in her eyes, I am really not even as good as a dog. Lin He's eyes lit up and he said, "Do you still remember that golden retriever? Do you know why I kept it? It's because I love you but can't have you. Before I married you, Xiaojian, the golden retriever was my spiritual sustenance. Now you believe how much I love you, right?" I sneered, "You call the person you love the most a little bitch? Do you love your parents?" Then why didn't I hear you call them old bitch? Lin He's face turned red. If it were in the past, she would have been furious and started punching and kicking me. Now, no matter how angry she is, she doesn't dare to hit me. Without the protection of her parents, she is nothing to me. After a long while, she stammered, I really, really love you, why don't you believe me? I didn't want to discuss the topic of love with her, so I asked her, you said the golden retriever is your spiritual sustenance, so why did you sell it? Her voice got louder again, because it took you away. Chen Yuan, you are my man, I won't allow anyone to covet you, not even a dog. My fists clenched. Why don't you find a nice dog-loving family to adopt him? Lin He said bitterly, because I don't want you to get it back. It always destroys the house every day. I feel sorry for you and don't want you to be so tired. I began to hate golden retrievers very much, maybe because I hated the whole thing because of the person I hated. I hate its name, I hate it for destroying my house, and I hate it for taking advantage of its superiority. Whenever Lin He yelled at me, it bared its teeth at me. Later, I spent more time with the golden retriever and it became close to me. I didn't call its name, but just whistled gently, and it came running over and rolled around with me on the grass. I gradually began to like it. When Lin He was not at home, I would take it out for a walk and chat with it. I was very depressed at that time. Lin He tortured me into depression, and there was a period of time when I really wanted to die because I felt that my life had no dignity and no meaning. I only persevered because I was worried that if I died, the Lin family would give up on treating my mother. The golden retriever seemed to be able to sense that I was in a bad mood. Sometimes it runs around happily, and sometimes it rubs against me. If I didn't move, it would gently scratch me with its claws. I saw worry in its eyes and my heart was deeply touched. The golden retriever's closeness to me healed me. So I looked for part-time jobs online and worked hard to make money, hoping to earn enough for my mother's medical expenses as soon as possible so that I could divorce Lin He. It was also from that time that I began to have goals and directions to strive for. Lin He sensed the closeness between golden retriever and me, and was very unhappy, often scolding us. She even hits golden retrievers. I was heartbroken. What did a beast know? And he took the blame for me. I untied the rope that tied the golden retriever and let it go. But it was loyal to its master and refused to leave. The more Lin He beat and scolded the golden retriever, the more the golden retriever stuck to me. In this cold mansion, the golden retriever and I became each other's support. Once, Lin He got angry in front of another man, and she came back crazy and started cursing at me. Not satisfied with just scolding me, she ordered me to take off all my clothes and then beat me with a feather duster, leaving blood all over my back. The golden retriever began to dodge in panic, afraid of being hit, and then it cried for me. Later, Lin He came out with a kitchen knife and wanted to cut off my ears. The golden retriever got angry and rushed forward to bite her wrist. The golden retriever didn't use any force. It just wanted to stop Lin He, not bite her. Lin He was frightened and quickly let go of my ear. The golden retriever bit her and pulled her into the kitchen until she put the kitchen knife back, then let go and ran out. Lin He chased out, pointed at the golden retriever and cursed him, saying that he was an ungrateful person. I am your master. I bought you the best dog food, the most luxurious doghouse, and countless toys, but you betrayed me for this dog man. The golden retriever hung his head and said nothing, letting her scold him. On Monday, I went to work and when I came back, I found that the golden retriever was gone. I looked everywhere and saw that everything related to the golden retriever was gone. Its house, dog food, toys, all disappeared without a trace. I had a bad feeling. When Lin He came back at night, I asked, "Where's the dog?" She slapped him, "Your wife is back, but you don't greet your wife first, but greet a dog instead." What? Is it your wife? After she had beaten and scolded me enough, she said casually, "I sold the golden retriever." My heart skipped a beat. Why did you sell it? Who did you sell it to? Lin He sneered, "What an ungrateful dog, if I don't sell it, why would I keep it? I'll sell it to the dog meat dealer." Oh, by the way, buy some dog meat tomorrow, I want to eat dog meat. At that time, I wanted to strangle her to death. I finally managed to control my anger and told myself that I would help Lin He get back the debt he owed to Golden Retriever. Now when I think about Jean Mao's departure, I still hate Lin He. I looked at her and said, "I remember clearly what your Lin family has done to my family over the years. T-Rabbit, #T-Rabbit 7story 2JG, X-House %U carat I pick up K this 6 article %K do not be private IJG I transport carat Q. Whether your parents are in jail or sentenced to death, they deserve it. My father's death has nothing to do with you directly, and you will not go to jail. But do you dare to ask me to pay you back for everything you have done to me in the past 5 years? What should I do if I? She was stunned, and after a while she said, but I am a woman. I interrupted her, so what if she's a woman? Doesn't a woman need to correct her mistakes? Can a woman commit domestic violence against a man? Can a woman dispose of a life at will? In our country, everyone is equal. If a woman commits a crime, she will go to jail. So, I warn you, don't bother me anymore, otherwise, I will call the police. Linhee looked at me with tears in her eyes, her lips trembling, unable to utter a word. I turned and walked away. A few days later, my mother called me out of the blue and said, Linhee is in the hospital. My heart sank. What is she going to do? She wants to see you. I was afraid that she would upset my mother, so I rushed to the hospital immediately. Walking into the ward, I saw Linhee kneeling in front of my mother's bed with a big belly, crying and begging, Mom, the baby in my belly is really your grandson, please let Chen Yuan remarry me, the child is so big, I don't want him to be born without a father. My mother said coldly, I don't even have a daughter-in-law, so how can I have a grandson? I have been married to Chen Yuan for 5 years, and the child is his. 5 years of marriage? How come I haven't seen you before? Linhee had never come to the hospital to see my mother before, nor had he ever called her mom. She looked down on my mother, but now she is begging my mother to accept her as her daughter-in-law. I pulled her up angrily. What are you doing? Get out. She hugged my arms and cried loudly, Chen Yuan, can you forgive me? I really love you, I know I was wrong, I will change everything. You can beat and scold me for 5 years, no, 10 years is fine. As long as you forgive me, it doesn't matter if I am your slave for the rest of my life. Our child can't be without a father, woo-woo. I looked down at her and said, Linhee, your love is worthless to me. Don't say that I didn't love you. Even if I did, what you did in the past 5 years has worn out my feelings for you. We can never get back together. Linhee cried and said, but I can't live without you. Without you, I can't live at all. Yes, she lost her parents, her company, her property, and she couldn't work, so she really couldn't survive. But what does it have to do with me? I have no relationship with her. I am just her ex-husband who was abused and his family was destroyed by her. Why should I care about her life or death? I said calmly, if you can't live, then don't live. Her eyes were filled with despair. Chen Yuan, I didn't expect you to be so cruel to your own child. Okay, I don't want this child anymore. I will abort it and show you whether it is your child or not. I ignored her. Linhee took a step back and walked out of the ward. My mother looked at me worriedly and said, Ayuan, will she really want to abort the baby? I asked, Mom, do you want to keep this child? Are all elderly people soft-hearted because they want grandchildren? My mother shook her head and said, that's not what I meant. I'm worried that if she's pregnant with your child and she gets it aborted, you'll regret it later. It turns out that my mother is still worried about me. I shook my head, I won't regret it. I want to have children. There will be plenty of opportunities in the future. My mother nodded, then I feel relieved. I comforted her again, don't worry, Mom. If Linhee is really pregnant with my child, she will definitely want to use the child to blackmail me. How can she bear to abort it? That's true. My prediction was correct, Linhee really did not have the baby removed. I came down from the inpatient department and arrived at the parking lot. Linhee stood beside my car, looking at me with hatred and resentment. I have offended you, and the child has done nothing wrong, why don't you want him? Are you still a man? Your heart is smaller than a needle. I said coldly, I am a petty person. I will never let go of any grudge. Your father killed my father, and I want his life in exchange for my own. You abused me for 5 years, and I will not let you have an easy life in these 5 years. She shouted, then I will make your life miserable. Chen Yuan, I'm telling you, I won't abort the baby. I will give birth to the baby and make him hate you for the rest of his life. I shrugged. Whatever. I drove away. Because I filed a civil lawsuit for compensation, Linhee's parents' assets were frozen. But her assets were not frozen, so she would not starve to death, she just could not spend money like before. My mother started urging me to get married. She said, if you marry someone else, Linhee will have no reason to pester you anymore. I didn't want to make my mother worry, so I said, if someone introduces me to someone, I will go on a blind date. My mother was very happy. My son is so outstanding, someone will introduce you to someone. A few days later, my mother called me and said, my doctor said that she has a relative's daughter who is pretty good. You two can meet her and see if there's any affinity between you and me. I could only agree, maybe on the weekend. I'm a bit busy these days. Okay, I'll tell the doctor then. On Friday, my mother told me, get a good haircut and buy a new set of clothes. Go to bed early tonight and don't stay up late to avoid dark circles under your eyes. Be alert when you go on a blind date tomorrow. Also, be generous to girls. Whether you like them or not, treat them to a meal. This will give you a good reputation if others know about it. I agreed to them one by one. Then I actually went on a blind date. The other person was not pretty, but not ugly either. She wore no makeup and dressed very casually. I got straight to the point and said, I'm divorced. She said, divorce is not a crime, and the law does not stipulate that divorced people cannot remarry. She's an interesting girl. I asked, why did you come here for a blind date? She said, my sister always praises you for being great, so I wanted to come and see how good you really are. Your sister? She grinned, it's the doctor who treated your mother. The doctor said she was her relative's daughter, not her biological sister. I asked, what do you do for a living? Teach the little kids to dance. After talking about her work for a while, I changed the subject and asked, do you know about my situation? She nodded, I know very well. When your mother told my sister about it, I happened to be with my sister. The girl knew my situation very well, so I felt relieved. In fact, after being abused by Lin He for 5 years, I feel that any girl is cuter and prettier than her. Moreover, this girl has a confident look on her face, loves to laugh, and is very likable. I think girls who love to laugh will not have a bad temper. In the end, we both agreed to give it a try. A girl who loves to laugh is contagious. Every time we met, she ran towards me with a big smile on her face and did some light dance moves. I can't help but smile too. After a few dates, we became much more intimate. I would hold her hand and she would hold my arm. I realized, this is what being in love feels like. It's funny that I've been in a marriage for 5 years but never knew what it was like to be in love. Now, it's my first love. I feel great. When I think of her smiling face, I can't help but smile and want to be with her every day. Happy days pass quickly. Before I knew it, several months had passed. That day, my mother called and asked me to go to the hospital. When I arrived at the hospital, I saw Lin He in the ward, holding a child. According to the date, she should have given birth, but she has not yet left the confinement period. To be honest, the child is very cute, and his little face looks like Lin He when he was a child. When this child is able to smile in the future, he will probably be as lovable as Lin He was when he was a child. But I don't know if Lin He will spoil this child like her parents spoiled her. My mother said, you and the child should get a paternity test. If it's yours, I'll give you child support. I agreed. Lin He and I took the baby to have blood drawn. When the needle pricked the child's little finger, the child burst into tears. Lin He coaxed gently, don't cry, daughter. Draw blood and have it tested with Dad, then he will recognize you. The word Dad hits my heart. But there was no expression on my face. After sealing the blood sample and sending it away, I returned to the ward. My mother asked, didn't you send her off? I shook my head. No. Although she looked pitiful holding the baby, her pity was not caused by me, and I don't want to be a saint. My mother nodded, it's better not to send it, otherwise Xiao Su would be suspicious if he knew. Xiao Su is my current girlfriend. My mother was a little worried and asked, if the child is really yours, will Xiao Su dislike you? I said, let me talk to her. My mother sighed, if she dislikes it, there's nothing we can do. It just means that you two are not destined to be together. Don't hate her. I comforted her, I won't hate her, don't worry, Mom. Compared with the hurt Lin He caused me, even if Xiao Su broke up with me, this little bit of hurt is really nothing, and there is no need for me to hate her. After I talked to Xiao Su, she asked, the paternity test hasn't come out yet, right? No, it will be out in a week. It may not be yours. What if it is? Then pay child support. The child is innocent, and you can afford it. I was amused by her, you are so kind. If it was Lin He, after finding out that someone else had my child, even if she wasn't sure yet, she would make a huge fuss and not only beat me but also that woman. Xiao Su was much kinder than her. Xiao Su tilted his head and smiled mischievously. Kindness is human nature. Our ancestors have long said that human nature is good at birth. I burst into laughter, but in my heart I thought of Lin He when he was a child. He was obviously very well behaved and cute, and loved to talk and laugh. But after growing up, he became completely different. Yes, man is inherently good at birth. But natures are similar, but habits are different. If you don't teach, your nature will change. What our ancestors said really makes sense. Lin He's parents should take a big responsibility for her change. The paternity test was sent to Lin He's home. A week later, she came to see me. Xiao Su happened to be in my office. She heard the guard say Lin He wanted to see me, and she looked at me and smiled. Is your ex-wife here to ask for child support? I raised an eyebrow. Come with me to take a look? Okay, Xiao Su said with a smile. I'll see if she'll ask for too much. At the company gate, Lin He was holding the child. Seeing Xiao Su and I coming out hand in hand, Lin He was stunned and asked with hostility, Xin Yuan, who is she? I answered, my girlfriend. Her face changed and she yelled, who told you to have a new girlfriend? I told you that even after the divorce, you are not allowed to date other women. Did you ignore my words? I suspect she is mentally ill. I said coldly, Lin He, you once asked me to write this sentence on the divorce agreement, asking me not to date a girlfriend or move out of your house. I refused, so there is no such clause on the divorce agreement. She interrupted me and yelled out of control, I don't care, I said, you are my man, I won't allow anyone to covet you, not even a dog, let alone a bitch. I was furious, Lin He. If you have a problem with your brain, go to a mental hospital and have a thorough checkup. Don't come here to act wildly. If we talk about being cheap, you are the cheapest in the world. There is no woman in the world who is more cheap than you. Her eyes widened and she said in a trembling voice, you scolded me? Shen Yuan, you dare to scold me. I rolled up my sleeves and said, what's wrong with me scolding you? I want to hit you. If it weren't for the fact that you were holding a child, I would beat you right now. Don't think I don't dare to hit a woman. The child was frightened by my voice, shivered, and started crying. Xiao Su hugged my arm tightly, fearing that I would hit Lin He. She whispered, don't be impulsive, don't do it, it's not worth it. Lin He looked at me like a fool, and it took him a while to come back to his senses and coax the child. I looked at Xiao Su and said, go back. Xiao Su nodded repeatedly and we turned and left. Wait. I have something else to ask you. Lin He ran in front of me, threw the paternity test at me, and yelled at me, give me an explanation, why is the child not yours? Why? I picked up the identification report and saw that the child and I had no blood relationship. I calmly replied, I don't want you to get pregnant with my child, so when you were with me, after every time you had sex, I replaced the vitamins you took with birth control pills. At that time, I fed her medicine and water, and she didn't even look closely to see what the difference was. Lin He's eyes widened in shock, so that's how it is. No wonder we've been married for 5 years and my stomach hasn't moved. But you never doubted me. You just called me a wimp and incompetent. Many times, when she was in a bad mood, she scolded me for being incompetent and unable to have children. Lin He was stunned for a long time, and then she didn't understand, but I finally got pregnant. This child is not yours, so whose is it? I shrugged. You often come back drunk. Do you really have no memory of who touched you? She looked at me blankly. At that time, in order to make me jealous and humiliate me, Lin He often changed different boyfriends and brought them back to stimulate me. If I loved her, I'd probably go crazy. Unfortunately, I don't have any love for her, so no matter how intimate she is with those men, I don't feel the slightest bit of emotion. She was the one who suffered the loss. She may think she is defending well, but how can a woman play tricks on a man? She fell into the trap without knowing it. So now, she doesn't even know who the father of her child is. Lin He held the crying child in his arms and walked away in a daze. Xiao Su sighed, put his arm around my waist and said, you must have suffered a lot during those 5 years. I patted her hand and said, I think it's worth it to spend 5 years of hardship in exchange for a sweet encounter with you. Xiao Su was shy, oh, you actually said sweet words, so corny. I laughed. It turns out that I can also say sweet words. Soon, the verdict for Lin He's parents came out. Her father was the main culprit in my father's death and was sentenced to death. Her mother was an accomplice and was sentenced to life imprisonment because she also helped push my father. I also won the civil compensation lawsuit, and all the private property of the Lin couple was compensated to me. I went to my father's grave and burned paper to comfort his spirit in heaven. Xiao Su is with me too. As she burned the paper, she said, "Uncle, Ayuan has suffered a lot over the years, but now he has finally gotten his revenge. Don't worry, Uncle, I will take good care of him in the future." I turned my head to look at her. The firelight illuminated her cheeks, which were red and particularly beautiful. At this moment, I decided to marry this good girl home. Soon, Xiao Su and I had our wedding. Because I gave my mother all the best medicines, her health gradually improved and she was discharged from the hospital. She came back to the new house I bought and nodded and said, okay, we have our own home again." My eyes became wet. After my father passed away, my mother lived in the hospital and I lived in Lin He's house as a dog. We have been homeless for the past 5 years. Now, I have a house, a wife, my mother is back, and we have a home again. My mother was so happy that she started to urge him to give birth again, have a baby soon while I can still move, so that I can help take care of my grandchildren. In the second month after marriage, Xiao Su became pregnant. I was surprised and happy. My mother was even happier. She asked Xiao Su what she wanted to eat every day. She was afraid that she had a poor appetite, so she cooked for her in different ways. 10 months of pregnancy and 1 day of delivery. My wife gave birth to a big fat boy weighing 7.5 kilograms. My mother hugged me and started crying, "Old man, we have grandchildren now, and our son is very successful. He also took back the company, which is much bigger than our previous company." I also had tears in my eyes. These are tears of joy, tears of happiness, tears of good things coming to fruition after suffering. However, our happiness highlights Lin He's misery. Because she was arrested and jailed, sentenced to life imprisonment. Only after the trial details were made public did I learn that Lin He had killed someone, her current husband. Her current husband is her daughter's biological father and is also a rich second generation. After she found the child's biological father, she took the child to live with him in order to give him a complete home. The rich second generation knew that he had a child and that his daughter was very beautiful. He was very happy and expressed his desire to marry her. But the parents of the rich second generation strongly opposed it. Because I had posted photos of Lin He abusing me and having affairs with multiple people online, she became notorious. The parents of the second generation rich man scolded him, "Can such a woman support a family? She could abuse her first husband, but she can't abuse you? Maybe when we are old, she will abuse us again. Her reputation is tarnished. She was able to cheat on you and sleep with you before, and she will sleep with other men in the future. Do you want to make us lose face? What's so strange about having a daughter? We will not recognize this illegitimate child who is not born out of a legitimate marriage. If you dare to marry her, I will break your legs." The rich second generation was spoiled by his parents since he was young and is also a very rebellious person. If his parents didn't care about him, he would play with Lin He for a while, get bored, and naturally dump her and return home obediently. But his parents forced him to break up with Lin He immediately. The rich second generation was enraged and got the marriage certificate with Lin He directly. His parents were furious and announced that they would disown him and confiscated his house and car. His parents even sued him, saying that he had borrowed 10 million yuan from them and demanded that he pay it back immediately. So his bank card was also frozen by the court. The second generation of rich people are originally uneducated and idle guys. They are used to spending their days drinking and carousing outside. Now they suddenly have nothing. How can they bear it? At first he held on and refused to give in to his parents, and when he had no money he used Lin He's. But Lin He didn't have much money, so he had to go out to work with his child. Although she has a college degree, she has never worked. She was almost 30 years old, had no work experience, no work skills, knew nothing, and had a 1-year-old child. No company was willing to hire her. She was involved in a domestic violence scandal and wanted to apply for a life teacher position in a kindergarten, but the school didn't dare to hire her. In the end, she could only work as a street cleaner. The job does not require any educational background or work experience, and she can even carry her child on her back while working. But how can this little salary be enough for the rich second generation to squander? $2,000 or $3,000 was not enough for him to play cards for an afternoon. When the rich second generation had no money, they would ask her for it. If she didn't have it, they would beat her and force her to sell her house. Lin He's villa used to be very valuable, but now the housing prices have plummeted and it can't be sold for much money. Besides, she also knew that once the house was sold, the money would immediately be taken away by the rich second generation and she would lose everything. Then she and her child would have no place to live. Lin He refused to sell his house and was often beaten black and blue by the rich second generation. She couldn't stand it anymore and filed for divorce. This angered the second generation rich man, who yelled, "My parents kicked me out of the house because I married you. Now you've left me with nothing. You still want to dump me? Dream on." The rich second generation grabbed Lin He's neck and slapped him left and right, sometimes on the face and sometimes on the child's face, and the child cried loudly. When Lin He heard the child crying, he stepped on him hard in anxiety. The rich second generation became even angrier. He picked Lin He up by the waist and threw him out with force. The child fell from Lin He's arms and fell headfirst onto the concrete floor. Lin He also fell to the ground. When she got up, she saw the child's head covered in blood. He didn't even cry. She was so scared that she screamed, "Baby, baby, what is wrong with you? Don't scare mommy." The rich second generation was also frightened and stared at the mother and daughter blankly. Lin He panicked and called the emergency number. But when the doctor came and checked, he shook his head sadly and said, "There are no signs of life." Lin He didn't believe it and insisted on sending the child to the hospital. But the child's body became colder and colder, and even when he was taken to the hospital, the doctors were unable to save him. Lin He returned from the hospital in a daze. The rich second generation sat there drinking as if nothing had happened and asked her, "Where did you die?" Lin He didn't say anything, her mind was all on her daughter. Such a lovely daughter was gone just like that. She was so sad that she couldn't even cry. The second generation rich man got angry and rushed over to hit her. "I want to ask you where the hell you have been. Have you been seducing a wild man again? Speak! Speak!" He grabbed Lin He's hair and punched him in the face again and again. Lin He's eyes were hit so hard that he couldn't open them and his head was splitting. She thought of her child's tragic death and that she would be beaten to death by this man. She was filled with rage and grabbed the wine bottle on the table and smashed it on the rich second generation's head. With a bang, the rich second generation was stunned. His head was hit and he felt dizzy. It took him a while to come to his senses, and he became even more furious. After Lin He smashed a wine bottle, he took the opportunity to escape. But as soon as she reached the door, the rich second generation chased after her, threw her to the ground, kicked her continuously, and then picked up a stool and smashed it on her. Lin He was beaten so hard that he screamed in pain and later became incontinent, with urine all over the floor. The rich second generation stepped in the urine and slipped and fell. He tried to get up, but slipped again. Lin He came to his senses, quickly grabbed the wine bottle and smashed it on his head. She didn't know how many times it was hit, and she didn't know what shape it had become. There was only one thought in her mind: she couldn't let him stand up. Just then, with a bang, the door was opened. Several policemen rushed in, followed by the rich second generation's mother. It turned out that when Lin He took the child to the hospital, the rich second generation called his mother. He said, "Your granddaughter fell down, and I don't know if she can be saved. When Lin He comes back soon, he will definitely beat me to death. If I die, I won't owe you anything in this life." Although his mother was angry that he married Lin He was her own son after all. When she learned that someone might die, she panicked and rushed over while calling the police. After arriving at Lin He's home, she called and her son was missing. The police shouted at the door, but no one opened it, so they broke in. As soon as they entered the room, they saw Lin He smashing the rich second generation's head with a wine bottle. The police quickly pulled Lin He away and controlled him. The rich second generation's mother went forward to check and found that her son was not breathing, and she cried out in grief. She pointed at Lin He and asked, "Why did you beat my son to death? Why?" Lin He also wanted to die at this time, saying, "He killed my daughter, I want him to pay with his life." After interrogation, Lin He finally told the truth. She resisted because she was incontinent due to domestic violence by the rich second generation man. Logically speaking, her action was considered excessive self-defense and the sentence should not be too severe. But the rich second generation's parents did not agree with Lin He's explanation. They thought she was lying and said she had premeditatedly beaten their son to death. They strongly demanded that she be sentenced to death. Finally, the court sentenced Lin He to life imprisonment. After reading this report, I didn't feel any sense of relief that I had avenged myself. Because no matter how many years Lin He spends in jail, even if she is sentenced to death, my father will never come back. My father should not have died. If he were still alive, how happy he would be walking hand in hand with my mother and raising the children together. Because of Lin He's obsession with me, my father died young, my mother was hospitalized for several years, and I suffered from her torture for 5 years. I can only say that the fate she faced today is her retribution. My phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. I answered. Who? Mr. Chun Yuan? I'm the lawyer appointed by Ms. Lin He. My voice suddenly turned cold. Mr. Lawyer, you must have called the wrong number. Ms. Lin He and I have no connection at all. The other side said, you are right. Ms. Lin He said that she is sorry for you and your parents. She may not be able to get out of prison in this life. She wants to transfer her house to you as a compensation. I laughed. She just wants to make herself feel at ease. Mr. Chen can understand this. Ms. Lin He said that if Mr. Chen does not accept this house, please help her sell it and donate the money to the welfare home and those organizations that take care of stray dogs. I thought of her child who died young, and of Golden Retriever, and agreed to the lawyer. After I sold Lin Ha's house, I donated half to the welfare home and the other half to an organization that takes care of stray dogs. It took me several busy days to finish these things. When I got home, my wife called me, husband, come and hug our son. He wants you. Here I come. I ran over and lifted the child up high. The scene of my father holding me on his head when I was a child flashed through my mind. Dear Dad, I hope we will still be a family in the next life. Over.